Where did the characters go today in our story? To the ferry. Fair. What was this story mostly about today? Kason. Refraction, mirrors. We heard a little bit about refraction. I wouldn't say it was mostly about refraction, though. I think we heard about what refraction was, but I would say it was a lot about mirrors. Had something to do with it. What kind of mirrors did they see in the house of mirrors? Viola? Concave and when they were in the maze of mirrors, they saw plain mirrors. What is a lens? Chloe, I'm in the middle of teaching. Go sit down. That is extremely rude. What is a lens? Haley, what is a lens?
A lens is like something like lenses on your glasses.
Good. So we know today when we talked about it, it's going to be that thin piece of glass or plastic, right? I guess it doesn't have to be thin. Glass or plastic. And we know that lenses can either be concave or convex, depending on what the purpose of that lens is going to be for that time. What happens when light encounters a translucent object? So something that's going to be, you see it, but it's going to be a little bit different. What happens when light hits a translucent object? What's that R word we're talking about here? Refraction. Turn and talk with your neighbor. What happens when light hits those objects?
Reflection.
Okay, so let's work on some personal space back there, bud. What happens when light hits a translucent object? Grayson? It passes through it, but then it is fuzzy because it scatters, right? That light is going to scatter a little bit. Turn and tell your neighbor one more quick time. Some translucent objects. Name some to your neighbor. Three, 2, 1. We were focusing on different objects that were translucent, so partly see-through, right? We talked about our blinds, the wax paper. What else? Haley? Even some liquids are going to be as well. We are going to move on. At this time, I would like everyone to take out activity 5.2 from your, so this is page 53, activity 5.2, and it's in your activity notebook. Go ahead and get it out. Aiden, get it out. Ryder, get it out. It's page 53. What page? Activity 5.2. Third graders, in our image on page 53 of our activity notebook, we're on another lab notes page, and we see that example of refraction. What is this an example of? Refraction. We're going to look at the image below, and we're going to do this together. It says, what is causing the straw to look like this? Fill the boxes for both the cause and the effect. Now, your pencils are down. You're not writing anything at this moment because I want us to talk about that idea of cause and effect. Cause and effect, we've talked about before, but it says, why does this happen? What happens? So a cause is going to be something that happens. The effect is what happens because of it as we go through today. All we have to do is look at this, and we could do this with the glass, but this is showing us perfectly what happens. When we put that straw in the glass, the light is going to hit that object. What is the object? The water, right? It goes through it. And it's not what happens then to the straw. Did it actually split into two? Turn and talk with your neighbor. What's happening to it? 3, 2, 1. I'm going to reread a portion of today's story to you, and I want you to think about what is happening and what happens because of it in this portion. You ready? Grandpa, said Ethan, why does it look like the straw is separated where it meets the water? See, the part of the straw in the water is magnified and it looks bent. So the straw is in the water. The straw is in the water and it's magnified. We're not writing anything. And it looks bent, right? At this point, we're just reading and talking about it. That's a really good question, Ethan, replied Samuel eagerly. Where should I begin? This could take a while, right? So we know that what's happening right now is the straw's in the water and it looks bent. We're going to think about the cause and the effect. I want you to turn to your neighbor and trying to describe your neighbor what is happening when the straw is in the water and it looks bent. Turn and talk to your neighbor. Turn and talk. 3, 2, 1. So we know what's happening is the straw's in the water, right? When the light rays hit the water, what happens to them? They slow down. Fabulous, Cooper. They're going to be slowing down. So one of the things we can write is what's happening is the straw's in the water. Now would be your time to follow along. And when the light rays hit the water, they slow down. Fabulous. You can add that as well. Light rays slow down in the water. And then it looks like the straw is what? It looks like the straw is split or in half. So you might want to include that too. What is this process called?
Mrs. Martin?
Yes.
Please put in your attendance.
I thought you already did.
I did not, but you guys
Thank
reminded
you.
me to. You got it. I did not, but you guys did remind me to.
Why didn't you?
Because I was busy working on other stuff and I forgot. Okay. We call this refraction. When the light rays, the cause is the straws in the water. The light rays slow down and hit the water. It's called refraction. What happens when that, what is the effect? Because the light rays hit the water and slow down, what happens because of it? Apollo?
In the straw case, it looks like it's split.
Exactly. So in this case, the straw looks split. And we know that when we're looking at like fish in the water, they look like they're closer, right? They look closer because they're magnified. Please don't let me do all the work. Please do the work yourself. This is what we call cause and effect. Something happened, the straw's in the water, and light hits the water. Because of that, what do we know about the straw? It looks split or separated. That is cause and effect. So an example of cause and effect showing up in our reading today. Beautiful. Make sure you have yours filled out. We're going to show it to a partner in just a moment.